This is Things You Might Not Have Heard, and I am Jay Cleveland Payne. What we're going to give to you in moments are yesterday's latest in information, politics, current events, and pop culture news. As your go-to supplemental source for both mainstream and conventional news, we give you a good mix of things. Some things that are being maybe overdone by the mainstream media, and some things that are definitely not exactly getting top billing. And we think you get a chance to tell us the best to talk about, because you literally get a chance to tell us what's the best to talk about and make the debate happen. Now, we will go into detail about how that works out in the feeds, if you will, how you follow us on Facebook and Twitter, and tell us what stories get to. But we have 8 stories today, including the story in the teaser graphic, if you're watching the video, that's Dianne Feinstein and how she's not doing so well on Congress. And we'll sort of talk about other folks not doing well in Congress as well, because it's there. But 8 stories total to get to right now. So let's get into those. Remember, go to our website, thisisaconversationproject.com, to find more details about what we have going on. Stick around after the headlines for a little bit of sales stuff and, of course, the fun stuff at the end of the show. Today is Friday, July 28, 2023. Let's get into the headlines, and so we can get this thing going, shall we? The first story we're starting off with, the first headline reads like this, because we can't skip this one. Trump charged with trying to delete Mar-a-Lago surveillance footage in new indictment. Trump is now indicted. Donald Trump now indicted again by Jack Smith on the same more or less issue, but on a different level. First, he's indicted by Jack Smith for just holding on documents he shouldn't have. And of course, Nada, who is his body man, if you will, also charged for essentially being the man who moved the boxes around. We're adding another person to another charge because Trump wanted to move, Nada did the moving, and we're having another person who is now basically in charge of, or was in charge of, getting rid of the footage of surveillance videos and how keep on what's going on. Essentially, he's the guy that drained the pool, that ruined the servers that had issues with surveillance videos, because as he said, and this may be a direct quote, telling the IT guy, the boss wants his stuff erased, and the IT guy's like, yeah, we can't just press a button and erase this, it's all over the place. And so they figured a way out to sort of destroy it, literally by flooding the room. And now 3 folks are now indicted for this big thing. We'll see how this one plays out as a separate indictment from Jack Smith. This one a more straightforward one, we're being told by the analysts. So this one may be actually faster to get to trial. We shall see, as this is the 3rd federal indictment, I believe the 4th indictment total, and there's maybe 2 more coming. It's getting crazy around Trump world right now. Second headline is the headline we had in our teaser. Feinstein gets confused in Senate Appropriations hearing and has to be prodded to vote. Dianne Feinstein is 90 years old. Now, we talk about Joe Biden, we talk about Donald Trump, we talk about Mitch McConnell. Dianne Feinstein is 90 years old, and she's faced a lot of health stuff in the last recent years, and she's back in her seat. Now, she's not running for re-election, and there are many people who are qualified. Some colleagues of themselves in Congress and in the Senate and in the House are running for that seat. The seat's not up till next year. And right now, Dianne Feinstein not doing so well in day-to-day stuff, apparently. There have been a lot of talks about what's going on. This one in particular, she was basically seated in the actual room to do a vote and, just kind of got lost in the moment and get back to the vote. Go to the story and read more about this one and go deeper into this one without going, too in the weeds here in the updates. But we also have a little bit in that same story about Minority Leader Mitch McConnell, who, of course, literally stopped talking in the middle of a sentence. It was as if his batteries just ran down and he just stopped. And people were afraid that maybe he had a small stroke. Maybe it was something that related to his falling, because he's falling a lot, apparently. We wish the best for both of these people, and basically all the people there on the scene. But we also wish that one side doesn't attack the other for the one guy when their other guys are also just as frail as possible as it is. Here's a happy story, a really happy story. Arizona girl Alicia Navarro, missing since 2019, walks into Montana police station. Police basically said miracles do happen when she walked into the station. She's now 18 years old. She walked in the police department in Montana and identified herself as a teen who was reported missing in September 2019. Police were overjoyed. She is autistic but high functioning, left her Glendale home overnight in September 15th, 2019, and left a handwritten note to her parents the next day. She was met by her mother and emotional return, so all these things are great. There are more details to the story that will be laid out as things come on, so check out the link for the story we have. All stories have links in the description, so you can go deep into all of those stories and see how it goes. You don't know full details of where she was, what's happening, at least from this point here, but as things pop up, we'll put it in the conversation listing in the feeds, and you can tell us if we're still talking about it. Oh, are we talking about this one right here? Taylor Swift in talks with Succession screenwriter to create TV series based on her love life. Now, of course, Taylor Swift writes lots of songs about lots of boyfriends she's had, and she's had a lot of boyfriends or ex-lovers, as it's stated here. And basically, each one is so salacious and so out there and wild that basically they all, make great songs. They also translate pretty easily to some sort of story and maybe hitting on the big screen. So that's why looking at a TV series based on a long string of boyfriends, not that we're saying anything against Taylor, but Taylor is known and actually goes along with the joke for having a long string of boyfriends. You can only take that so far. Bud Light's parent announces layoffs in wake of brand woes. Bud Light is doing well or doing not well based on what you're looking at. Bud Light, of course, not doing well after their incident with Dylan Mulvaney. And their parent company, Anheuser-Busch InBev, seen themselves drop from literally the king of beers. I guess Bud's technically the king of beers by its branding. But Bud Light, the number one beer in the nation, now the number three, I think. Modelo is now number one, weirdly enough, a Spanish, Mexican, wannabe yellow beer, I guess now number one in America because commercials, I guess. They're going to lay off about 350 people over the span of their whole enterprise to basically recover and save some money. When you're losing money, you have to, lay people off to make up money and make them work more. Now, the back and forth about what's going on is the conservatives are boycotting the beer because of the LGBTQ plus campaign, which was one guy, one girl, whatever you want to call him or her. I'm not even going to get into that right now. Having a beer with their face on it, and that turned into a thing. Also, they're also fighting Target for having Pride stuff, but that's a whole nother story. It's on its own. Anheuser-Busch, which I'm not really a drinker of Bud or Modelo, so I can't really say I have a dog in a fight, laying off people because the money's not right now. This is a very sad and very kind of complex story. Squeegee worker guilty of manslaughter in case exemplifying Baltimore's racial and class divides. High school student was found guilty Thursday of voluntary manslaughter in the shooting death of a baseball bat wielding driver who approached youths washing windshields at a busy downtown intersection last summer. The defense tried to assign responsibility to Timothy Reynolds, who was shot 5 times as he was attacking the teens who were doing the washing of the windows. Did not work out that way. The high-profile tragedy reignited a long-standing debate last year about Baltimore's squeegee workers, mostly black teens from disadvantaged backgrounds. Attorney Warren Brown said that most don't live in the neighborhoods where they could be, most don't live in neighborhoods where they can basically mow lawns or pick up odd jobs there, so they do what they can to try to make money. Although they are more of a nuisance than an actual public service, this is a very detailed and very complicated issue. Look it up on your own or check out the link for more details on this one here to go deeper into this story, because it's larger than just one guy getting shot by a bunch of teens, or 18 in particular, who was as they were washing windows and just being an annoyance. It's a whole lot deeper than that. This one, not so deep. McDonald's is creating a spinoff restaurant brand called CosMc. And so essentially CosMc, from what I can tell, is McDonald's food in a sort of a boutique sort of setting. CosMc is a alien from outer space who craves McDonald's, and the brand will revive the CosMc character to be sort of the mascot of the brand. This is coming off the big bringing back of Grimace. Grimace, everybody tried to pretend that Grimace didn't exist. They made a shake for a while, and bam, he's back. So we'll see how this thing goes, whether it's going to be a boom for McDonald's, where they're going to change some of their, their not so well working McDonald's into this CosMc, whether the food is actually on par with McDonald's, and how this business spinoff is going to work, and whether it's just a very early April Fool's joke, because it sort of seemed like it was. And prosecutors are dropping the campaign finance charges against Sam Bankman-Fried. SBF in the news, not quite rolling through his trials right now, but he's getting a bit of a reprieve as charges of the campaign finance and some of the fraud there are going to be dropped from what's going on dealing with his FTX and all the money he basically stole to launder back and forth between different businesses. The campaign finance charges are going to be dropped. Authorities have said that Bankman-Fried and other FTX used and others at FTX used customer deposits to make $90 million in campaign contributions to 300 political campaigns or political action committees. He's now set to face 7 charges, including accusations that he defrauded customers and lenders of FTX. If convicted, on securities fraud and wire fraud charges, which are still pretty big, dozens of years in prison. But even though Sam Bankman-Fried and FTX used a lot of the money they made and or stole to fund various political candidates, they basically put money into everybody's pockets. They were lining everybody's pockets. Those charges are going to be dropped. You may not like that. You can chat that up with me by going to your email machine. Email me at theconversationinbox@gmail.com. We can talk about this one deeper. And we'll definitely keep following Mr. Bankman-Fried, or SBF as they like to call him, in his trial as it goes forward. Let's go to our teaser story for today. This story is synced in with how we work our headlines here at the Conversation Project. If you want to contribute to the show, literally tell us what to talk about, you just simply follow us on our feeds on Facebook and Twitter. Facebook.com/This Is the Conversation Project and Twitter.com/th_conversation. We're trying to get some data stats out of TikTok and out of once we can get a chance to kind of pre-post things in trends, whatever the thing is called. Already forgot. Threads. That's it. Threads. We're trying to get more engagement because those things may be living as a two or dying, but we shall see. Meanwhile, this is the story we're teasing up right now for Monday, and that is right, Monday. We have today, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and a teeny bit of Monday morning to get you into. So we're going to pull from 30 stories of the top range for that and give you 10 of them on your Monday morning's version of things you might have heard. We will talk about this if you deem it worthy. Florida 11-year-old charged in kidnapping hoax call, sheriff says. Apparently everybody's in the kidnapping hoax calls business these days. Read this story. Very, very sad. Charges apparently being worked out for this 11-year-old. Yes, we talked for like 2 weeks straight, maybe 2.5 weeks essentially, on Carly Russell. No updates on her at the moment, but this one, we're not sure why. People call in hoaxes, call in bomb threats, call in kidnapping things all the time in very small areas. Hopefully this will take into account some of the things happening and be a deterrent. What the problem is, it probably won't. But we can talk about this story come Monday if you deem it conversational. Go to our feeds and engage in the story. Like it, love it, hate it, share it. Make sure you read it so you understand it. And if you deem this one engaging enough, get it in the top 30 stories for Monday morning. We will more likely put it in there to talk about in things you might have heard for Monday. Now, let's talk about our sponsor for today, our main sponsor, the sponsor that we are highlighting today, and that is the Hostage Tape. Hostage Tape is one of our fastest growing and more popular, oddly enough, sponsors we've had here in the last couple of months, because although they have a silly name and the thought of taking someone hostage is in your head, it's not about taking anyone hostage. It's about basically saving yourself and your life and maybe your relationships. What does Hostage Tape do? Well, it's tape. You put it over your mouth, and it keeps you from breathing through your mouth. Why is that so great? Because you're supposed to be breathing through your nose. And whether you're exercising, whether you have trouble sleeping at night because you're a mouth breather, wherever it is that you can use a little extra help in your breathing technique, Hostage Tape can help. It's also the strongest and most comfortable mouth tape that's on the market. So check it out at thisistheconversationproject.com/hostage tape. This is theconversationproject.com/hostage tape. Get yourself this great product. Don't just giggle at it. Don't take a look at it, try it. And this may be the thing that will keep you from your sleep divorce. It can happen. So check it out at Hostage Tape. Remember, all of our sponsors give us affiliate links. So the ads are for affiliates. You must buy from them to support us. So we get a cut back from this that costs you nothing extra. But we ask you to try out all our sponsors. Go to our website to see all our sponsors. And, of course, visit to see Hostage Tape. This is the part where we ask for direct help. This is where we do the pledge drive, the big old cat eyes and the tears, and where Sally Struthers, who will be, of course, brought back up again, sort of gives us a blueprint of what to do here. The Conversation Project offers up news, headlines, updates every single weekday morning, and a weekend wrap-up of news on the weekend, plus some extra commentary there. You can get that in video form, in audio form or in newsletter form 5 days a week, 6 days actually, for us, because the weekly wrap up is also a newsletter as well. What do we need from you? We really need you to tell us what to talk about, help us move the engines around. Follow us on the feeds on Facebook and Twitter, and that is the most important thing you can do, because that gives us things to talk about. Sharing the feeds and sharing the videos and audios and newsletters across the internet makes more people engaged, and that's a great thing to do as well. If you deem what we're doing very, very good, then we ask you to stop by our sponsors page and just visit a sponsor. I'm sure one of them will take good care of you. And go to our partnerships page if you want to directly help us get things done. This is direct donations, if you will, direct funding for what's going on. It's all the rage these days. And so when you hear people talk about Patreon and things like that, that's the page where you can connect to our services for subscriptions as well. We can use the help. We think we're doing a great job and we have things covered for the most part, but we can do more things with more resources. Resources turn into time, and time is what we really need around here. So more resources give us more time, and you can help us with that if you deem us worthy of that. So with all that done, we got you the news. As promised, we did some sales. We did some promotion. We talked about us. We did the pledge drive thing. Now is the time for the fun stuff. The fun stuff happens at the end of the show every single weekday morning. And we start off always with birthdays. And as I said, Sally Struthers, oh, she's back. 76 years old on the day. On this 28th of July, we celebrate Sally Struthers' birthday. And you, depending on which version you're getting this, you may see Sally Struthers promoted, or you may see John David Washington promoted. I already knew when I wanted to do John David Washington, his name was going to be too long, and we had to swap out of a couple venues. But Sally Struthers does deserve her flowers today. Most famous in her last real big acting job was, of course, All in the Family, and that was a long time ago. But essentially from there, she became the voice of sad, crying children wanting money for only $10 a day for quite some time. Sarah McLachlan thinks she has this job in the books. No, she learned everything she did from Sally Struthers, 76 years old on the day. Elizabeth Berkley is 51 years old on the day, and also John David Washington, 39 today. As we said, John David Washington was supposed to be the promoted birthday because he's, I'll say more relevant because he's in more stuff right now. But his name's too gosh darn long, so it messed up a lot of the tags. So maybe you thought we were talking about Sally Struthers. Maybe you're talking about John David Washington. Maybe you had some idea we were talking about Elizabeth Berkley. We talked about all three and their birthdays today. Happy birthday to that trio of great actors and just great people. Today in history, going back on the 28th of July, starting off in 1996, what happened on that day, this day, that day? Dr. Joachim Huhl of Hübig, Germany, not only performed a successful kidney transplant operation, but he provided his own kidney for the transplant. You know, sometimes you just got to show off. You just got to flex a bit. And that's what Dr. Huhl did on this day in 1996. In 1998, in Chandler, Arizona, 4 witnesses lifted a 2,400-pound car high enough for a 13-year-old boy trapped under it to crawl clear. Abraham Villa suffered severe cuts and bruises when the auto hit his bicycle and dragged him several feet, but he was able to be saved by just 4 dudes who did the Mentos thing and lifted the car up. It's amazing, and that's all great. In 2009, I should say, the Senate Judicial Committee approved the Sonia Sotomayor, slay that slower, Sonia Sotomayor, to be the first Hispanic justice on the Supreme Court. Not the first woman, but she joined that pantheon, but the first person of Hispanic heritage. Those things happen on this day back in history. Today, we're going to celebrate Chocolate Milk Day. Milk Chocolate Day. I'm sorry, there's 2 different things. Chocolate Milk Day is a great day in itself. Today we're doing milk chocolate, which is, candy. We had a whole bunch of different fun things this week, but milk chocolate is one that is kind of universally loved. There's really no person who doesn't not have a thing for milk chocolate. Some people like darker chocolates or chocolates with other things mixed into it. Milk chocolate is more or less pure. It is great. The kids love it. The parents love it. Everybody loves it. Milk chocolate's an easy thing to acquire, so get yourself a little bar of chocolate, even if you're on a diet. Just a little piece. Snap a little piece off. Just take a little nibble. It's okay. One little piece will be fine. Celebrate your July 28th with milk chocolate on Milk Chocolate Day. And finally, one more thing you might not have heard. According to the National Panhellenic Conference, 125,000 women attempt annually to join a sorority at around 500 different colleges' campuses. Anywhere from a quarter to a fifth of them don't get accepted or quit during rush. That's a lot of numbers. However, a number of consultants have emerged to serve this customer base. One sorority consulting firm called It's All Greek to Me charges $600 per semester for a semester of prep and $3,500 for unlimited advising during the process. Another charges up to $4,000 on an on-call service during rush, while one more charges $1,000 for a midnight bundle and $150 for video calls. The Panhellenic Conference is an umbrella organization for 26 national and international women's sororities throughout the United States and Canada. We're going to just walk away from that one just like that. Today is Friday, July 28, 2023. My name is Jay Cleveland Payne. Thank you for being with us for this edition of the things you might have heard, and for hopefully being with us for tomorrow for the weekly wrap up and for the story of the week. We cannot do this literally without you, because you give us the fuel to do our work. Go to our website, This Is Conversation Project, learn more about all the things that we provide, and of course stop by the for the feeds, because that's how we get the storylines. Facebook.com/This Is Conversation Project and Twitter.com/TH_conversation. Yes, I know it's X, but it still transfers to Twitter, so just go with that. And give us the stories, the headlines. You tell us, or we give you the headlines. You tell us which ones are the engaging ones to talk about. We'll have 10 of them out of the top 30 for the weekend come Monday. Tomorrow, as you watch this, as you produce this, we will send out the weekly wrap-up, which is the top 10 stories of the week, which is on pure data, none of my maneuvering of things, and the story of the week, which is one of those stories with a bit or extra detail. I get to do editorialize on one story, and we'll pick it from the top 10 stories. Be back on Monday for more of this stuff here. Check out our website and all things we have going forward. And of course, stay limber, stay hydrated, stay on task for all the great things that you're here to do, because there's plenty of them and there's not a lot of time, and our time is, we don't know when our time is up, so do your best to make sure it extend it as long as possible, and don't do anything to shorten it on your own. I am done. It's been a great week. Check out our feeds, because we're posting news stories already all day long, all night long, every 50 minutes, and you tell us what news we're talking about. Love you guys. Mean it very much. Let's go back. Have a great weekend. Stick with us for our weekend shows, and let's do this thing again come Monday.